ChatGPT's deep research tool is one of the most underhyped AI tools out on the market right now. While everybody else is screaming about agents, there is an actual agent that could do a ton of work for businesses that most people aren't even paying attention to. In this video, I want to show you how you can put this fantastic tool to work to get to know your customers better than you've ever known them before. Because believe it or not, there is gold out there in them internet hills that is hard to find, but with the use of deep research, you can actually go and pull it all to you so that you can market better, faster, create content that resonates, and ultimately create something more meaningful for your prospective customers. So, in this episode, let me break down how deep research works, who has access to it, and how to take advantage of this 12-part prompt library that I build in order to power your next audience research project. Welcome back to the AI-Driven Marketer. I'm Dan Sanchez. My friends call me Danchez. And today I'm excited because I've been sitting on this one for a couple of months now, and I just haven't had the time in order to get it out. I came up with a whole decode your audience prompt pack for this and launched it on LinkedIn a long time ago, and I haven't ever announced it to you guys, the podcast listeners. I should have announced it to you first. I know, I'm sorry. But I'm doing it today, and I wanted to dive into this tool that I find is underutilized by everybody. It's available for free on ChatGPT. Gets even better when you pay for it in the Plus account, but it's even available for free in Grok, on Perplexity, on Claude, and on Google now. So this is a common tool, but hardly anybody uses it. In this video, I want to be showing you exactly what I'm doing with ChatGPT's deep research, which I find is currently the best one out on the market, though this can change in the future. How it works essentially is that it does more than just search the internet. ChatGPT's deep research actually takes a whole 15 to 30, sometimes 40 minutes and beyond time to think, to go and do some research, think about the results, do some more research, think about the results, do some more research, and think about the results before it comes back with a final report for you. Now, this is helpful because you've probably assigned this task. Maybe you've done this task for college or for a research project you were doing within your company, and you know how long it takes to do. This type of research report usually takes half a week up to a week in order to go and do all the proper research, reading what's out there on the internet, compiling it all into a useful, well-summarized article for you to be able to make actionable decisions with. But now it takes as little as a well-organized prompt, 20 to 30 minutes from ChatGPT, and then you just get to sit back and read the report. And while this tool sounds amazing, it's been a problem because I find that most people just don't know what to ask. They don't know what things to put this thing to work on. And that's what I want to give you in this video. Not just a how-to on the tool, but a very practical guide on how to get started in order to understand your customer better. So let's take a look at a first use case that I just did last night. Now, I am logged into ChatGPT, and I'm going to be looking at my window for all you audio listeners, but I'm going to be explaining what I'm looking at on my browser here for all of you listening in so that you don't miss out on a beat. I am looking at a ChatGPT window, and I have a first prompt here because I am on the board of my HOA. And if you hate HOAs, I'm sorry. I try to run ours better, and that's why I signed up for it, to not be that HOA. So you HOA haters out there, like, I get it. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But we've been talking about raising funds or trying to get grants so that we can build a little playground for our neighborhood. It's pretty simple. But, finding all that on the internet, as cool as Perplexity is hard to find all the different places willing to write grants for it. So I kicked it off as a deep research project. It's a perfect use case for something like this. If you ever have a question that is more than just a Google search away, more than just a 10-minute project, you probably need to do a deep research report, and that's what I did here. I asked a simple question: are there any grants we could access as an HOA to build a small playground for our neighborhood? Can you do a deep research report to find anything? And of course, I am on a Plus account, so when I went to my model on the upper left-hand corner, I moved it from ChatGPT 4.0, which is a great model for lots of things, just normal chat, ideation, writing assignments, but I moved it to the most powerful model I have access to, which is O3. If I were on a pro account, I would use O3 Pro for this for sure. But I moved it to O3 because it's the most powerful reasoning and thinking model ChatGPT has available to Plus account users like me. The cool thing about deep research is that it always asks you a set of clarifying questions before it goes off and does its reporting. And it asked me some good ones like, hey, what's the location of your HOA? Like city, state, that'd be helpful. The approximate budget for the playground, any preferences and types of grants you're looking for, whether you're an HOA is registered as a 501c3 profit or not could make a big difference for getting grants. If you're if you're open to partnering with schools, parks, or nonprofits if you're not already a 501c3. And I went ahead and gave it just the answers to all those questions, and it went ahead and spent 6 minutes and reviewed 32 sources and did 158 different searches in order to come up with this report. So it came up with a whole list and summary of all the grant opportunities available to us with ideas on which types of grants would be the most beneficial for us. And it was a long report. At the end of the day, what I love about doing deep research in AI is that it's always a little bit like too long. It cites all its sources. It does a good job. It even writes a conclusion. At the end of it, it's still chat. So like you can be like, hey, with the O3 turned on, what would be the 5 most likely to help us fund our playground, right? Because it created a list of all the different grants available. I was like, give me the top 5, please. So it created a whole table with the top 5 and why it's the best option, the typical money we could expect from the grant for this, and the key hurdles to overcome for the grant, right? And then went and gave me some more information. And I went and just did a deep dive on this deep research report and asked it like, oh, okay, well, what does it look like to partner with the nonprofit? Since we're not a 501c3, we're a 501c4. And we had an interesting little conversation. I learned a ton about what it would take in order to make this work. So that is a great example of how to use deep research when you have a question that ultimately needs a little bit more of an answer that just traditional search or a quick 30-second glance at the search results can generate. So O3 can go and search the web, but it really takes a good considerable chunk in order to search it, think about it, search it, think about it, like we would if we were to go and spend 20 hours doing a report like this. It can now do it for us. So you're probably looking at this and being like, yeah, Dan, but I'm not on an HOA. I'm not looking for grants. That's a great use case, but how can it work for me? Let's talk about that. That was the example of how this sucker works. But let's actually go ahead and take a look at the best way I've found to do it. I created a whole library of prompts just for ChatGPT's deep research, and I call it the Audience Deep Research Toolkit. And I created a whole guide for you. I'm going to cover some of them today. I'm going to cover just a few of them, but I want to give you access to all of it. I'm going to be linking to a landing page where, again, you can opt in and subscribe to my newsletter, get the list. Of course, you can always unsubscribe, but you know, we're all marketers here. You know the deal. I create a lot of value, and in exchange, I'm hoping to get a little bit more of your attention, maybe from the podcast and the newsletter. Please, did you even know I had a newsletter? Come on, it's a good newsletter. You should subscribe. You should at least subscribe for this 12-point prompts that you can use to understand everything you want to know about your audience, because you know there's gold out there, right? Your customers are talking online. They are sharing their pain points, their questions, their concerns, their fears. They're whining about your competitor. They're whining about you. Wouldn't it be good to have all that information stored in one place? ChatGPT can go find it now with deep research, and it's all hidden out there on Reddit and Quora and industry forums and X and blogs out there where they're talking about all these different things. Now you can have the answers to your most frequently asked questions about what your customers or prospects are talking about when it comes to your area of expertise. That's all out there, and we can use deep research to get it. For example, wouldn't you want to know what your customer pain points are? You can find a deep research report to find it. Or my personal favorite, audience questions analysis. So look at this prompt right here. This is a prompt that will kick off deep research in one of the most compelling ways that I've found yet. This is the prompt. Identify the most frequently asked questions of your insert target audience is asking about your topic of expertise. Source these questions from social media, forums, Reddit, Quora, and other relevant online platforms. Format the report clearly with a written summary, a summary table categorizing and ranking the questions by frequency and clearly label the sections for each category, including an analysis and a 12 and 12 bullet points that represent the direct quotes with their sources. Whew, that was a mouthful, right? But let me break it down for you in case you just glazed over me reading that prompt. It was a structured prompt that essentially goes and finds all their questions, actually tallies them all up as far as how often they're finding it, rank stacks them, and categorizes them, and then rank stacks them, and according to which questions are the most frequently asked ones on the internet for your audience. If you wanted to go even farther, you could tune it into like what time period they've been asking these questions: last week, last month, this year, the last 5 years, all time. You get to decide and direct the research. We come here, I just ran this for marketers who were asking about AI in their marketing strategies. And you can take a look at this on my screen. I'll try to summarize it for you audio listeners here. But I'm in ChatGPT where I actually ran this audience report. And it did a fantastic job of helping me as a marketer understand you, the audience, better by going and reading all the questions it found on Reddit and Quora and forums and blogs and all the other social media sites out there. And this is what I learned as far as to what marketers are asking about when it comes to AI. So I have a table in front of me with the most frequently asked questions and some examples of those questions. Number one, of course, no surprise here, will AI replace marketers or take our jobs? And I've been doing and creating a lot of content around that very question for that very reason. And some examples of their questions, which is always good to have examples of the way they ask it, right? As a marketer, you want to see the language that they use. That's why I included in the report. They say, is marketing in danger because of AI? Will AI tools eventually replace human marketers? As some examples. The second most frequently asked question I found that marketers were asking about AI, according to this deep research report, is which AI tools are actually useful for marketing? And that's exactly why when I gave a presentation at Social Media Marketing World, I talked about the 25 AI tools that I use because people want to know about the tools. Even before they want to know about the strategies, they want to know about the tools first. I don't know what's up with that with us. And it certainly affects me too. Like I always want to know what gear I need, right? Before I even know how to use it. I don't know why we do that, but we do. Let's be honest. Third most asked question is, how do we integrate AI into our marketing strategy? With some examples being, how should we start leveraging AI for our campaigns? Any best practices for integrating AI into our overall marketing strategy? And of course, that's just the top of the list. If I start scrolling down, you could see, again, I asked it for examples of all the different types of questions, and it gave it to me by section in the different categories, which is just really cool because not only can I use this to start informing my content right away, but I can use this, feed this whole report to AI in order to brainstorm bigger things and combine it with other research reports I've had in order to help me create better offers, create better content, and ultimately resonate more with my audience. We no longer have to wonder what our audience is thinking. With a ChatGPT account, we can even do this for free, though it does a lot better if you pay for the plus. Shoot, it even does way better if you pay for the $200 a month Pro account and use ChatGPT's O3 Pro model. Its best model, it will do significantly better. That's a cheap $200 research report, in my opinion. But we now have access to this amazing tool in order to understand our audience better. This was just a preview of what it's capable of, but let me preview a few other of the prompts that I created in this audience research toolkit that I created. Wouldn't you like to know what your competitor weaknesses are? I have a deep research prompt for that. How about product innovation opportunities, places that are unmet needs of your prospects that are talking about wanting something but not having access to a product that does that, or industry trends and predictions. Maybe you want to know about content gaps and needs analysis, things that people are asking about that there is no content for. Yes, it can go and research their questions and then go and search for the answers to those questions to find out which ones are actually less addressed than you would think. What about objections that they're facing so that your sales team can be better prepared to answer them? What about their lingo and communication patterns that they're using so that you can better align your messaging to the words and phrases that they use? What if you could find out what influencers actually impact your audience? Yes, ChatGPT can go and scan to see who they're talking about so that you can go and build a relationship with that influencer, maybe do some deals with them, some collaborations, maybe sponsor them. But you want to make sure you're finding the right influencers first. With ChatGPT's deep research, you can do that. What if you wanted to find an alternative solutions? What if you wanted to know about what alternative solutions your customers are using rather than your service so that you can build a whole landing page that talks about why those things are going to cost them more over the long run rather than using you? You can use this to do whole brand perception audits in order to see how people actually think and feel about you or your brand. Wouldn't it be good to know the answers to those questions? With this prompt pack, you can actually get answers to all of them and have a reasonably good idea of whether it stands or not. That's the power of deep research. Whether you apply it for ChatGPT, Google's deep research, Grok, they're all pretty good. I recommend ChatGPT, especially with its Pro O3 Pro model attached to it. It just does such a good job. But I wanted to put this episode out there real quick to kind of give you a preview, let you know about this resource, and tell you that you can go find it in the link in the description of this podcast, or go to danchez.com/research, and it will take you right to the landing page where you can get access to this audience deep research toolkit. So again, it's at danchez.com/research. Go and use it and learn more about your customers today.